Hey, good morning, folks. So we are back with one more stream on the skipbot. Yeah, let's get started. Let's see where we left off. So I think last time we were still dealing with the Pong message. I think like we did a bunch of refactoring. Let me move this above. And yeah, let's review the code base once, right? So let's start from the main.go right here. Yeah, so okay, I remember like splitting out the application into multiple packages. We did a parser and we did a router as well, right? So I think let's look at what okay, we were getting back these messages, these channels from the parser. Let's look at the implementation here. Okay, so parser creates these three channels, runs in parallel, does a for loop on the messages channel, and then sort of puts messages on the related channels, right? So I think we are putting messages on all the channels basically, like here's ping, and then here is command, and here is message as well. So I think like we can get rid of all these FMT messages and then just go back to the router. I think let's have the application running. Let me start a tmux session, right? And then do a go run main.go, but first we need to source the environment variables. That's done. Let's run this now. So hopefully this should sort of gather in all the messages and all of that. So let's create one more window, but yeah, before that let me send a message and see like if it triggers. So let's go to router. So if a message comes in, it will say got a message, got a command, and got a ping in all those three channels. So if I send a message, it'll say like, hi, this is a message. So I guess I got a message, and then if I do like command, right, like even though there's nothing like called command, but then because it's prefixed with a bang, yeah, it says got a command. Okay, so this is doing this correctly. Excuse me. Yeah, so the last thing is ping messages. I think like we'll have to wait 5 minutes for that, but yeah, we can sort of move on and look at how to deal with all of this meanwhile, right? So the messages we want to send to our TUI package, right? So there isn't much to be done. All we basically do is we just called build TUI, pass it the channel. Yeah, it does need access to the connection as well so that it can write to it, right? So that is something we can deal with separately as well by sort of creating one more outgoing channel. Yeah, but then like it's sort of like it doesn't add a lot of value having one more channel just for sending messages if you can just write to the connection. Yeah, I'm not really sure on adding that additional channel. Okay, but yeah, we still need to pass it the connection, which is something I'm not really sure about. Okay, but besides that thing, besides the TUI, besides the messages, we also have commands. Commands actually, we only have like or rather I think rather than having commands managed on stream elements, streamlabs or nightbot, I think I can sort of move all of that here. Maybe have a JSON file, sort of, if the key and value mapping is there, then sort of run that command. Probably that is something we can use the command for. And pings, I think, like, again, I think like in this case we require a connection to send back a pong, right? So I think we will need all of that. So let's figure that out, right? So we didn't do pong here, I think, or for that matter, do we have pong anywhere in our code base? No, I think we just have a ping, not a pong. Okay, that's all right. Let's start with one of those. Let's start with passing it the connection. So we get a connection here, right? We pass it to the messages channel to read messages off of it. I think we'll also need to pass it to the router, right? Because router has to sort of route connections back to the messages back to the connection. So this would be a connection, and we'll sort of mark it as IO writer rather than a net connection. Okay, that's fine. Then the first thing we do is we do a fmt.fprintf to the connection, and we send back pong. I think it's just pong, or like is it like tmi dot, I think like it's tmi.twitch.tv. I think that should be it. Let's keep the message of it getting these type of things, so that we can, okay, by the way, we got a ping as well. So this is sort of, at least the channel is receiving all the values. So this one is handled. Right, then we have messages. So the way we want to do messages is that we want to do like a TUI dot build TUI. We pass it, what do we pass it? Let's see. Yeah, so we will get a value here. So I'll say like message is equal to this thing. Like each time we'll get a single value, right? So by that logic, build TUI cannot really take in a channel. It needs a message string here, basically. Are we doing a loop here? Yeah, I think we are doing a loop here. So this would be a message, it should be a string, right? That's fine. And yeah, I think we're taking the message. Where are we using it? Okay, all we are doing is doing fprintf here, right? So I can just get rid of this whole thing here and then this whole thing, and I think like it should be back to working. So yeah, all we need to do is pass it the message and the connection. I think it says variable of type parser.message as, oh, okay, yeah, message currently is the message struct from the parser, so we'll just pull in the message from it, which is what it wants, a string value. So I think that should be fine. Command we'll have to figure out, but then I think like this is fine for now. So let's rerun the application. The only thing now I'm wondering about is like if the TUI only starts when we get a message, it doesn't seem right? So we'll have to start it again and just pass messages or pass pass messages to it when we get something from Twitch. So yeah, you see, like currently it doesn't start the application. Alright, so it will wait till we get a message and then it will start the TUI. So let's see, like I send a message saying TUI. See, then it starts a TUI, right? And then it sort of is working. And also, like I think like we need to format the TUI messages, but yeah, that's not my point. Okay, so let's fix that. That would be in, where would that be? That would be in the router. Let's go to the router first. So this actually shouldn't be called here. This should be like a send message, TUI.add message or something like that. But the build TUI part, how do we sort of have a reference to the text view? So let's have another function called function message TUI, right? So something like this. We'll just receive a message that would be a string, and then all we do is I think this what this needs is yeah, if I move it out, then I also need, okay, I think what I can do is I can just take this bit, yeah, I can move it out here, get a line here, so it will be a var because we can't do colon equal to outside a function. So then what we just do is we just call it directly, something like this, right? Because it's defined outside. And then now that text view is outside, we can do is whenever we get a message, we just do this, right? So I think let me get rid of all of this comment since we are not using this right now. So I think the next step would be, let's make this bigger. The next step would be to call build TUI beforehand, right? And this doesn't require any sort of any kind of sort of dependencies as of now, right? Like it can just start. Although I think like it does need a connection, right? Connection to sort of, okay, but yeah, connection is something we can pass to it. That should be fine, and that actually removes our dependency of router having a connection, I think, besides the ping. Okay, the ping does need a connection, so yeah, that's still there. But eventually we may like find a solution around that as well. Okay, so what we want here is to call the TUI.build TUI, just pass it the connection. Yeah, I think like we can get rid of this message, but because I don't think, are we using it anywhere? We aren't. I'm not sure why it's not complaining about it. So if I come over here, so build TUI, we are calling it, and then yeah, let's see if this starts first of all, like if it starts immediately the TUI, or does it wait for messages. Okay, router is having troubles, okay, which is expected because we removed the additional arguments. So we'll go back to the router, right over here actually. Yep, that's complaining that build TUI. Okay, yeah, so what it really requires is just a connection. Yeah, for that matter we don't even need to call this, right? I think that should be sufficient, and let's get rid of the, let's just print out the message so that I don't need to write this message colon equal to again. So let's run it once. Let's see the TUI boot up. If I send a message, it does show up on my screen. If I send back a message from the pop-up to the chat, it doesn't show up here. It says got a message testing. Okay, yeah, because we are not writing to the terminal UI, right? So we'll fix that quickly. Let's go to the TUI. And this is all fine. I think what we need to do is go to the router. As soon as we get a message, right, we do a fmt fprint f. We write to the, or actually no, we don't even call this. We do like a TUI dot message TUI and pass this the message. I think that's all. And let me get rid of this message for a bit. And this would be actually message dot msg dot message. Yeah. So let's go over here to a go run main.go. Hey Jurex, what's up? How you doing? Jurex, is that right? Okay. Yeah, let me source in the variables and let's run this. Okay, so it immediately starts, and then let's say hey, so that shows up on the chat. What I send a TSTING in here, yeah, this shows up fine as well. And if I send a command, yeah, I think it sort of adds a message here. It got a command which sort of breaks the UI, but yeah, that's a sort of like that tells us that don't use fmt.println. That's all. Okay, yeah, moving on. The next thing I wanted to address was let's go back to the router. Okay, I think it's already open in this tab. Okay, so we get rid of this message, right? So this is working fine, although we need to format it better, right? So I think I should take in the whole message, right, and then format it there in that function. So I'll just go back to the message TUI, change it from string to parser dot message. Right, now we have a parser dot message coming in here. Let's format the string. The way we can do it is like it would be like user colon and then the message. So I think we can do like a message is basically, or we can reassign the message, right? Like there's no harm in doing that. So we'll do fmt.s printf, right? This would be %s colon %s. I think that's that simple, and then we'll add a line break. And then do we need a line break? I don't think we need a line break because I think it will append these anyways. Okay, what we'll figure it out. So this is going to be, the first command would be message.user and the second would be message, right? And then we'll send back the message. This is complaining because what's up with this? Okay, yeah, we can't do like a new variable. We can reassign though. And now it's complaining about cannot use message. Okay, yeah, I think like it should be a different, because this has a very different type compared to a string. So about that, this has to be defined though, so we'll just do a colon here, and I think that should be fine. So let's try sending multiple messages and see if they show up in new lines, right? So this starts the TUI, let's say like 1, let's do 2. Yeah, okay, already we see the problem, right? So this has to be a new line here. Okay, that's fine. So that's sorted as well. So I think like the 2 is working just fine. There's no coloring and all of that going on, but yeah, we didn't plan on that either, so I think that's fine. Where's the focus? Okay, let's try one more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's come back to our router. So that's over here. We are yet to deal with the commands, but more importantly, I think like, because we are getting the messages, right? So I want to yeah, okay, I see another problem already. That so okay, let's look at this, right? So if we go to main.go, we get passed messages, right? So the problem is that, okay, this doesn't necessarily have to be a problem. I think we can deal with it here, but I wanted to deal with it somewhere else in the router itself, because router is the better place to deal with that. Basically, I wanted to store messages. I'm still thinking like whether we should do raw messages or I think let's for now do passed messages, and then we can add maybe say like commands or other things to it, right? Okay, so in that case, let's go back to the router, right? So we created this package called store, right? And all we do is like we do a log message, and it creates a file under the current date, stores the message, and that's it. Yeah, I think we don't need to worry too much about other things, right? So we'll just do store.log messages and then send it the message. I think that's it. Although it's saying like, yeah, it does need okay. Now that like 2 things need formatted messages, I think like we should probably do it here and then pass it both to the TUI and the log message, because or we can have like a separate utility, but I think like it's doing it here in line is or maybe as a function here, right? So let's do it here. So let me pull up message or rather TUI, right? Open it up here, copy this line over, right? We'll say, because I'm pretty sure like we'll end up formatting it a lot, so we'll say like format message. This takes in a message of type message. This is not actually just message, it's parser.message. So let's fix that to parser.message, right? And then we return a string, all right, and that's a reply would be the return value. Okay, so I think that's fine so far. What we do is we just call format message here, pass it the message, we get the let's call it response rather than reply, right? So let's do that. Reply would be replaced by response. Okay, so that's fine. We get a response back. We send it to and to this thing as well. Yeah, now this needs to be updated again. This will again be a string. This would be a string, right? And then this would also be a message, because we don't need any formatting now. So Yeah, I think this is fine. Why is this complaining now? Okay, yeah, I think it's fine. Let's okay, let me exit this tmux window, start a new one, to a go run main.go. This time we'll check if it's storing the logs, the chat logs in the file, right? So let's say, because if I send messages from the IRC, from the TUI, actually it won't store them, and that is something we need to add as a functionality. I'll just do 1 2, right? Then I'll stop the chat altogether, then I'll do 3 4, and that's it, so that we can check like if it's appending correctly or not, right? We got all those messages here. Let's now just test it out. So we have a logs directory, the current date is 31st. It's really 31st. Okay, and you see yeah, we are getting all the logs here, right? So this is working nicely, no issues here. I think the only thing besides that we want to store here is chat messages, or like anything else that comes in, right? Like read messages or subscribes or something like that. I think like that is also of value, either in a different log file or maybe in this for now actually. So okay, so now if we go back to the TUI, I think what we wanted now is to store the messages that I sent through the TUI in this chat as well. So the way it works is we use this message TUI. I think like this is where we can sort of handle it, right? So if I go to the router, so if we are okay, no, this is sort of like, this is not message TUI, right? Like this message TUI is basically taking a message and sending it to the TUI, but rather we are interested more in the fact that we pass the connection to the TUI, right? Through build TUI. So that is the more challenging. But by the way, let's get rid of all of this. Maybe still rely on the wait group. I don't think we need it. Let's see. Hopefully we don't need the wait group now that we have the TUI running parallelly. I think it's working fine. Yep. So wait group can go away. I'm just quickly checking the log file. Yeah, this is also working fine. So I think we can just get rid of all of this, right? So that's one thing. The next thing was going to build TUI, right? Here we want to maybe take in a take in the, yeah, let's see, like before I sort of confuse myself, I think what we want is we want to take in the messages channel, right? And then sort of, but then again, like I think no, we don't even need to parse it, although it just needs the current user, which I think for now has been hard coded, but then like if we use environment variables, it can be sort of managed from there as well. So I think if I do is, all I do is that I remove the directions from these channels. Okay, let's figure this out, right? So where are we complaining about? Where do we do os.get? Yeah, we do it in this file, which is connect, which is okay. This is the ideal case. I think this should also take in the channel and the nickname, right? So let's pass it those two things as well. Just do a copy paste of it, and then one more time, so that we can take in, this would be we'll call this let's just call this we need nickname, right? And channel, so I'll start with channel. Channel here, and then also channel here. Come on. So channel, and then also check here. So this can be quick. Okay, now this would be, why is it still complaining? Yeah, I think we'll have to use it here, which is okay. I'll do it in a second. And then here we want is the nickname. I don't think this really matters because it's really dependent on yeah, let's see actually, right? Like let's see if we need a nickname. So if I do like var channel is a string, right? And then go over here, the join part would now be using a %s, and then this would be channel, right? How about we just get rid of the token or comment it out for a second, and then also comment out the nick part to validate. Do we even need a if we really need a nickname or not? So the we don't need token, we need the channel, and it would be called skip note. So if I run it, do a go run main.co, it didn't complain about anything. It did join the chat. So if I do like hey, all right, I didn't get a message though in the chat. We didn't get it back either, right? So yeah, I think we don't have raw logs, so yeah, that's something that would have come in handy here. But that said, I think let's now just comment back, or rather uncomment back the nick file and see. Let's see now. So it starts, we say hey, yeah, the message shows up. Okay, so the nickname is actually required. So let's add it through through the environment variables as well, right? So I'll select Twitch nick, right? Same thing over here as well, and here and here we'll just make these lowercase, right? And then let's create a variable for nick and then use it here. So this nick would also be a %s. I feel like now I really need a .n for some other solution around that, because this is going to be a difficult thing to manage with multiple multiple environment variables. Also I think like it's a good time that I create a new sort of Twitch channel for the Twitch bot, and then just use its OAuth token rather than my personal token, and then the correct name would also show up. But that said, like if I do like go, or let's export this as well. So this would be nick. So let's start this up. Let's say like hey, yeah, that does show up on the chat. Then if I do yeah, I get messages here as well. So I think like it's working fine. It has no issues now. So okay, but then yeah, like the problem that we are trying to solve is sending messages to the TUI, sending the messages that I send out to the TUI, right? So that happens when we called build TUI. I think the way I'm now thinking is again separating that bit out as a function. Right, and then calling it okay, let's see when can we call it, right? So whenever I type in a message, I need some way to hook into that channel, right? So I want to send values to that channel. So that channel is available in parser, right? Because we create the channel here itself. So I think and then we get the channel either in main. So if we get a channel here, you have all these channels here. We can do it here itself. We can take in a channel here and sort of process it, or we can go to the routes file, right, and then so yeah, this message wouldn't really work in here, right? This is all coming from the Twitch, so this is not the right place actually. The place is either read message or even parse message, right? So parse message, I think all we need to do is we need to do like a TUI dot send message, right? And then sort of send a message on that channel right over here. But as soon as we get a message, right, okay, let's see. So let's create that so if we do like a this is actually like the message to part is similar, but then the only difference here is we are just putting the message on channel rather than format message, right? So okay, I think also we need to look into this. I think we should rename this. This is message to it's used in the router, so I think it should be called to be fair, it should be called this one is parser, so it should be router, and this one should be TUI. So this should be called format format message, right? Something like that, and then here we'll just use the same thing. Where does this come from? Format message. Is there a format message as well? Okay. I'm a bit confused. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. It's not really doing the formatting. It's just sending message to the text view. Okay. Okay. So in that case, I think we do want to send a message, but we want to put that on a okay, let's do like a pass message. This will take in a why do we want to do this here in this file, right? The reason I'm a bit confused is that we have parser, right? So we get values from text input, right? input view actually. So in that case, we just want to take those values and then, so basically this should take in the channel and then put those on that channel. Okay, let's do this. Let's not think too much about it. So this will take in a message which is a string, and then it will take in a channel which is of type let's call it message or msg chan, and this is of type parser dot message, something like this, and it doesn't return back anything, I think. Okay, now what we do here is we just take the message and put it on the channel, but yeah, okay, so this would be pass message. We pass it the let's do msg input view dot get text and get text. Right, so we have the message here, we'll just use it. Right, so we have the message and then to pass message we'll just take the message here, the value, and then we will just send it to that channel, right? So the channel is something we require. That would actually be the channel, right? So we don't need to worry too much about it, like, but yeah, it does need to be defined. Like we don't have the channel here in this place. It needs access to the channel right here, only then it would work. Oh god. So build tree, I don't want to pass it the channel. That is the only concern. Like if I don't pass it the channel, then I think it would have been fine. Okay. So currently the only thing I'm seeing is that like passing a also that okay, yeah, but then we are just passing it messages. So if I pass it this messages, then we get a message chan here, which is a chan of message. So we pass it dot message. In that case, all I need to do is just take the message and then pass it to message chan, right? Something like this. Why is it complaining? Okay, it's complaining because value of type chan parser of message. Okay, yeah, here it should also be a channel rather than just a message. Okay, it's fine now. All we do is we just put in on the message chan, we just put the message on it. That's it. But okay, yeah, we can't really do that, can we? Because I think we can. I think we can. This would look something like message. Okay, I'll do like parser dot message, and then to this we pass in few properties, right? So the properties that it takes in is the message, the user, and the command. So I think like we have all those details. So let's go back to the TUI. So it requires a message, which is basically message. It's not formatted, but we can format it. but I think it will get formatted eventually. And then the user would in this case be, okay, yeah, let's hard code this for a bit. Skip note and then false for the command. I think that should be it, unless I'm missing something. It says unkeyed values. I think we used it something like this somewhere else as well. Yeah, right here we did that, right? Why wouldn't it work in our case? Okay, let's see. Let's save this first and then see. This is our MSG is equal to this thing. Even then it doesn't work, right? Cannot use parser.message literal. Value of type parser.message in assignment. Okay, why is that? Okay, I see. But we just rename this. About then what is, okay, I think it's working. So this bit is fine, and then what if we put it on the channel? All right, so can't we do that? Can't we put it on MSG chan like this? Yeah, then it doesn't allow us to do that. Okay, what about doing message and then doing on the MSG chan we put up this message? How about that? Okay, it still doesn't. Okay, how about we pass it the keys in that case? Then this would be message, this would be user, and this would be command, right? Something like this. How about now? Yeah, it's happy now. So I think we can just do this now. No, we still can't do that. Types are different. Okay, but we can certainly do this. Message chan is directly receiving this message, right? This is complaining, saying that variable of type chan is okay. We are not reading from it or writing to it, so I think it should be fine. We can also say it's a read-only channel. Oh no, it's not a read-only channel actually, because we are writing to the channel, right? So we'll have to go to the parser. We'll have to remove the first arrow here, right? So yeah, this is sort of getting hairy, but let's see if it works. I think that's more important. So all we are doing is as we are getting messages, we are adding them to the TUI, but also, like, in case we send out a message, we are putting it on a messages channel, which will further get processed and sent to the relevant places. I think that should be it. So let's run it. Okay, it says invalid operation to receive only. Okay, so this is on TUI. Have we declared it as a, oh yeah, we have explicitly marked it here. I'm not sure why, but let's try it now. Yeah, so if I say hey, it does show up here. If I say 1, this shows up here. If I do 2, it shows up here. Yeah, 3, yep, 4. Yeah, I think it's all looking good. If you look at the logs, let's open the logs like this. Okay, 1 2 3 4 came in as expected. I'm not sure what this m is, but yeah, I'll figure it out. But that said, how long have we been in the stream? Okay, it's been 50 minutes. I think we can still go on. I go to main. Yeah, I don't really like the fact that we are passing this message channel around. That is, I'll put it right out there that I'm not really a big fan of that. Passing the channel around so much. So can we do it in a different way is something we need to figure out now. So the first thing is that message originates from this point where we do a get text on it, and this is input.setDone function. So this can be moved out of build to it to a separate thing. So how about we do that, right? So how about we move so this would be var input view, right? And on line 16 we'll just say that use input view, right? And then yeah, but the other thing is that, like, even if we I think I'm thinking of one more thing about this. How about this is not the best, but what I'm thinking is just like take this input view, this method where we basically set the done function, right? Like whenever you basically do a done, we take this over here, right? But at the same time, like, we are sort of not doing sort of like our packages have like mixed responsibilities, because the parser shouldn't have anything to do with the input view at all, shouldn't even know about it. So I think like the way it's currently done is still better, when we are basically just putting messages on a channel. So that is still fine, I think. To me, that doesn't spell out a lot of issues. The only thing is that we are not getting the user here, we are getting the user in connection, and that is something I feel like maybe it shouldn't be there. So we are doing connect here, right? So on connect we have all these values, but then these values aren't accessible anywhere else as well. So that's another challenge, because I wanted at least the channel. I think, like, does it require channel? What does it require? User. Okay, user comes in from Nick, I think. So we require that value here, and it can't really be hard coded, I think. But yeah, that's okay. We can still export values, right? So that is the go way to do it. So I'll just do same thing here and here. I think that should be, and the last one here. I think that should be it. Now I can use this would come in from connection.nick. Okay, I think that problem goes away. It's not hard coded anymore. Yeah, I think it's fine. I guess we can continue with this. It's not too bad. Obviously it can be a lot more better, especially this part, but I think like it's still doing its job fine. Okay, so okay, let's go back to the router. See how are we writing values here, right? So okay, this is actually fine. We don't currently want to log multiple things, but then like once we have I think like once we want to log like multiple things like commands and pings, I think like then we'll have to refactor the store, right? Because currently if we call it multiple times, it will check if the file is created or not every time, and that's not really a good thing. And in fact, to be fair, like it's always doing that every time it gets a message. So thinking about that, right, like it does like call create log file, which is this one. So it has to figure out all of this. I think there should probably be two things, like create log file should be a separate thing which returns back a file, right? So this can be uppercase C. This actually doesn't need to take in the file, but all it does is it takes in so this would be file, right? And this would be IO writer, right? And then it will just take in a file, or let's for a bit just take it like f dot os dot or rather a pointer to os dot file, right? It takes in a file. Where's the message? Okay, it also requires a message, so this would be the second parameter would be message, which is a string, right? So in this case you don't need a file, right? You don't even need to defer calling it. All you do is you just do a f dot write string, right? And that's it. So if we go back, I know like it's sort of creating a lot more work for us, but at the same time I think it's the right way to do it. So if we go back to the router or router, so right here what we do is whenever we call route messages, let's see where we are calling route messages first. So it's route messages is being called right here in main. Okay, it's not called multiple times, it's called just once. So what we can do is we can do store.create log file. This gives me back a log file, right? Something like this. And then right over here we can also do like a defer log file dot close, right? And then in this case this would change to store dot what do we call it, create or log message rather, and then we pass it the response. Why doesn't it autocomplete? Okay, this requires a file as well, which is okay, and then a message. So this would be log file, and then a message would be response. Okay, I think like this is better because now I can call this in multiple places, right? Like I can call it here and can call it in commands, I can call it in ping, right? So and for that matter I think I'll do that, do the same thing here. I'll just put this here, I'll remove the or rather let's just do like a response. In this case would be got a ping, right? So we'll send this back. Yeah, I think this is good. We'll just do it like this. Now we can also do the same thing here as well. The command message would be here, right? And we can copy this thing over. Let me do a got a got a command, and then we'll just append to this the command itself, right? So this would be something like this, right? Why is it complaining? Cannot convert got a command untyped string constant to a parser message. Okay. What does require a parser message? So, okay, yeah, I see. This would be command dot message. Right, I think this should be fine now, and then yeah, we log that as well to the file. So currently we are storing everything on the log file. We will have to figure out how we deal with the other scenarios, or more importantly, like what we actually do with the commands, right? Like ping is something that just has to be responded to, but command is something where there are actions, right? So, and this is the primary part of the bot. So let's run this. Right, so if I say hello, okay, immediately it fails to write message to the file. Okay. Okay, so that refactoring, I'm not sure if it worked as expected. So that would be, I think, in store. Let's open up the store. It says fail to write the message to the file. Okay, so once we do like a create log file, what do we do at that time actually? All right, so we open a file and all of that. This doesn't fail. Is it the permissions with which it sort of tries to open it that becomes a problem? But I think what we should do is we should do like fmt.println f and message as well. Right, now do a go run main.go. It starts up the application. I'll say hey. Yeah, we don't get any messages back. Okay, all right, let's see what broke in this case. This just creates a directory, so that's fine. Let's also change the permissions over here. Even though 666 is fine, I'll just change it to 766. This opens up a file and returns it back. We go to log messages, we try to write to it, right? So okay, is a file. It's not able to write sort of write to it, right? So can we do something else? Can we do IOUtils? This gives us back the slice, and then we don't want to deal with the error right now. There might be an error, but let's see like if we can get some values there. So we'll do string s, so we're converting the byte slice to a string. Let's run this. Let's see. Hey, this should okay. With the 2 it's difficult to go through anything. So what if we don't do this for 1, right? So and then in the main we don't call this bit either. What happens? Does the application crash? Okay, yeah, it doesn't crash. Okay, that's good. Come on. So what we want here is just for debugging is a wait group. That would be Okay, let's give it a go. Okay, so it's blocked. We don't see anything, but it does exist as soon as there is a message, right? So this is the pointer to the file. This is the string that we are getting, so it's probably the file itself. So let's do one thing. Let's move logs directory to something else. So I'll call it L for now. If I do a go run main.go, they should create a file and all of that, right? So if I just send a message again, okay, it again fails, right? But did it create a directory? So it did create a logs directory. It did even create a file in it, but the file is empty. So if I go to store, what is the issue in this case? It writes back the message and all of that. This I'm not sure if it's working at all. So let's skip that. The write string is not working, right? So, and this problem came up once we sort of split it up in the router, right? So what we did is like we created the log file. Okay, I think this wouldn't exit, but let me sort of comment out the defer call, right, for a second, and then try it out. I think like defer might lead to this because the file might be closed already before it tries to write to it, right? So if I send back a message saying 1, yeah, this doesn't exit, right? So I think like that was the only problem, but this is stuck now. Let's do a pkill here. Maybe just close this window because the text formatting is really bad now. So here if I go back, I enable the TUI, like completely enable it, get rid of the wait group, then get rid of, or maybe get rid of this directory, the new one, rename the older one to say logs. Okay, then the next thing would be to go to parser. I think like parser is fine. Router is the only place where we need to enable this. Okay, so the reason it was failing is because what's the reason? Yeah, we are doing a defer here, because I think like this sort of runs in parallel while this exits immediately. Is we can try this out. Like we'll select defer. I think let's try this out. Do a go run main.go. Yeah, I do need to source in the variables and do export on nick, export channel as well. Go run main.go. Let's say hey, get a hey. Let's do hi. We get a hi. Let's do a command from here itself. We'll say like bytes ls, which is not running, but still. And I think like that should be fine. Let's go here in this one. Let's log the chat messages. So we see like we get all the hey, hi, and also the bytes ls, so which is what we wanted. That's working correctly, and this is good. What else? I think what is this? I'm not sure what this was. Let's see, like does it log over here an empty line? Yeah, it did log over here as well. Okay, I think like we can probably just send blanks here, but then that doesn't show up onto chat, so that is something we can address when we go to router. Is it router? By the way, okay, let's exit. I'm not sure like where this message was logged, but okay, I think do we have the channel here? No, we don't. Okay, let's remove the defer for now because the file, the route message will run for the lifetime of the program, so I think it should be fine. Ideally we do want to properly close the channel as well, so that is always there. Okay, but then like the file is being handled somewhere here, right? So you can't really just do this. We need context here. Okay, that is for next time. All I was saying is that like in the TUI, I think what we should do like is like if len of message is greater than 0, only do this, otherwise don't. Right, something like this. So if I go back here, I run this again, right, and if I press enter, it doesn't do anything because it's empty, but if I add something, then it works. Okay, so that's handled as well. So what is our current condition looking like, right? So let's look at that. So main okay, so main has connect to IRC, read message messages, then we pass the messages, we get multiple channels out of it, then we route messages to the specific locations, and then we also run the TUI, right? So I think like TUI, it's because all of these like this sort of connects, so I think like this is blocking. Yeah, this is blocking, but then this should be blocking, because if there's no connection, there's no point of starting the TUI. The read message is not blocking, it's a new channel altogether. The parser is not blocking, it's spinning up a go routine as well, and then route messages is not blocking either. So all of these are spinning up channels, so it immediately gets to the build TUI part, right? And these are things that are running in the background. So I think this order is fine. If we go back to each package, so we have connect to IRC, I think like this now is exposing these values. I think like we'll expose token and channel once we need them in some places, but for now it's fine. Logs are fine. I think like logs are working as expected. Now we have like clean logs wherein we don't have everything that's coming in from the chat or Twitch Twitch IRC, right? We have the messages. This just reads the messages, right? Like it's a very simple package. It's just one method and that's it. Parser, I think like parser we didn't touch much today, besides I think like we did some refactoring wherein what did we do? Okay, we just removed the thumbed messages and that's it. So that's fine. Like this is the same as before. Router, I think we made some changes because this was the goal of the stream. So we added a format message, sort of separated the logic for the store file, and then currently we are logging the ping and command as well. Yeah, that is something I think we already tested, so that's fine. In the store, I think we did a split on create log file and log messages, so that log message can be called in multiple places, and we don't do the unnecessary checking of files on every message, which is like waste of a lot of resources. In the text view, in the TUI file, all we did is like message TUI. So this is a small utility function that is called from outside to send messages to the TUI. I think this is called from the router itself. And then yeah, I think that's it. On this one we didn't do anything else. Like I think like we just moved the files around, and we also added this check, right? Like when we pass messages to the message channel, we just check if its length is greater than 0, right? What else? Yeah, I think like that's pretty much it. I think like with this we can commit everything and wrap up today's stream. I think we just need to update the readme because it's a bit out of date, right? So if I go to readme, I think like refactoring is something like that will keep on coming up every time, but yeah, I'm fine with the TUI right now as well. So I think the next step would be to Okay, before I sort of get to integrating the like I'm not too confident on whether we can integrate like the bytes application without a lot of rework, but let's quickly take a look on how it's working, right? So we are basically fetching all the values from Airtable. Okay, so we need to figure out what's the Airtable API, right? We do have some tokens around, right? Like, or are we okay? Yeah, we're just using our bytes application because it has all the okay, I see. But then wouldn't this be blocked? I don't think it would work now, or it was working actually. So how is this working without proper authentication is what I'm wondering. Because the way it works is that we have fetch bytes, which is calling the fetch all. Right, so fetch all requires, I think, like fetch all. Oh, okay, this is basically directly calling the Airtable APIs. Okay, so Airtable we need to figure out, and then yeah, I think like parallelly sort of keep calling keep sort of fetching the sounds, the latest sounds, every 1 minute or like 30 minutes or whatever, and then yeah, I think just play them in VLC, right? Or maybe something better. So I think and that's it. I think like I can handle this in the next stream, and that should be fine. Okay, I think with that we can wrap up the today's stream. Thanks everybody. Yeah, bye bye.